Hey everybody, Steve here with Local Level Podcast. I'm sitting here with Nate Hembree of Phoenix Solar. Pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about solar in the Chicagoland area. That's a little different. People don't think of that too often.
It's brand new. Last year, the beginning of January, that's really when it started to kick off. There's a state level incentive that the state of Illinois is given to homeowners that have qualified homes. They're giving a ton of money back to people.
Wow.
For going solar.
So I was actually just getting a haircut. I was telling you right before the show here, and I was telling her that I have somebody, solar company on. She was asking all these questions. I would imagine that the people listening have a lot of questions about that too. The first thing that she said was, "Oh yeah, if I could afford it." And so you're saying that there's no investment? How does that work?
So really, there's finance companies that give out solar loans. It's really a lot how people really go solar.
Yeah.
And if you have like a decent credit score, it's no money out of pocket. And then really with the incentives, you're paying pretty much what you're paying towards ComEd right now.
Okay.
On average.
Right. And so what does the process look like? I mean, I figure with anything, if you have really good credit, things are cheaper for you.
Sure.
But for somebody that maybe has like average credit, that's a homeowner, maybe like the high 600s, low 700s, what does that look like?
So really it just starts with a report. So your report's based off of your last 12 months of your electric usage in your home. Mm-hmm. And then we take a satellite overview of the house. We build a solar system to go on your roof, and it shows how much energy your home is actually capable of producing.
Yeah.
And then if you qualify, how much money you would save every month, how much it would be for you, all those numbers, how much you'd get back from your federal tax credit for going solar, also the state incentive, how much money you'd get back. There are different ways of paying for solar, obviously.
Right.
So people don't really think about what you're paying towards your utility company. Your utility company is a bill that you always got to pay. Mm-hmm. And it's something that never goes away.
Yeah, right.
And really, if you look at history, it's been steadily increasing over time. Mm-hmm. Now, solar is just like a flat payment every month. It's the same thing, same payment every month. And really, it's a payment that goes away. It's like your mortgage, so.
How does it go away?
Well, once you're done paying off your system, just like when you finance a car.
Okay.
Or you have your mortgage. When you're done paying off your mortgage or you're done paying off your car, you own that car. You own the home.
So you're thinking about this kind of in a way, it's similar to buying a car.
Yeah. It's really like probably the second biggest investment in your house, right, besides your house.
And then generally, how long does that take to pay off over time?
Well, most people do 20 years, like a 20-year financing option. I mean, you can do 10, 12, 15. It's really up to you and how you like to pay things off. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you go with like a 10-year, then it's going to be higher monthly payments, but you're going to be paying less interest on the back end.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, like any big purchase, it's an investment, mm-hmm, right? So, if you're a homeowner, I guess run us through what's the pitch? How does that work?
Well, it's the pitch. Well, we start out with, have you heard about ComEd's net metering program? Mm-hmm. You haven't? Well, pretty much ComEd's looking for qualified homeowners to switch to solar, and they're giving them money for it. And what we do is, like I said, we run a free report, shows how much energy your home can produce. And then if it ends up being a good fit for you, you'd be saving money every month and no money out of pocket.
So on average, how much would somebody expect to save compared to, say, ComEd?
So when you're looking at those kinds of savings, you're looking at like over the course of 25 years. Mm-hmm. And really, nobody really thinks about how much money they're putting into the utility company over 25 years, but it is in the tens of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. So when you go solar, you're really taking back ownership over your power, and you can potentially save tens of thousands of dollars over the course of 25 years. And everybody uses energy differently.
Yeah.
So it depends on your home, how big it is, how much energy you use. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I know in this region it's a lot newer, but in other regions like Southern California and sunny places in general, there's an established market. I would imagine that you guys have done pretty decent research on the long-term benefits, over time. Would you say that somebody making this investment and actually getting this put on their house, if they say wanted to sell their home years out, would this be, how would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, everybody's moving in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Everybody's always moving. Everything. When you go solar, and if you financed it, you still have payments after you sell your home, but all of that can be transferred to the new homeowner.
Okay.
It's just the same way, like when you buy a new house, you have to call ComEd and be put on the account for the home.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact thing. You call the financing company. Obviously, you'd have to qualify for whatever rate the previous homeowner had.
Okay.
The new homeowner, I mean. So,
Okay.
So, I mean, but if you're getting a mortgage, you're going to qualify for this loan.
Okay.
And then, just transferred over. It takes about 24 hours.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, these are questions that I have. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, thinking about it from my own perspective, I'm thinking like, is this an investment that makes sense? So in Chicago, we have snow, and it's icy, it's cold, it's overcast a lot of times. So how does that compare? I mean, I know that you're biased because you're in the industry,
Absolutely.
but in your experience, I mean, I would imagine that people probably bring this up. What's your answer to that?
So we have we have a map.
Yeah.
It shows the sun exposure over the United States and all the different areas, and then also like the leaders in the world. So Germany is on there.
Yeah.
They're the leader in the world when it comes to solar. I think actually China might have just passed them, but Germany has been in the past. They actually get half the amount of sun exposure
Yeah, I was going to say.
that we do here in Illinois. They get about the same amount of sun as like Seattle.
Yeah.
So in Illinois, it's not as bright and sunny as California in the Southwest, but really we get a ton of sun over the year.
Yeah. During the summertime and the spring, I mean, we get really, really hard sun.
Yeah, and that's actually what you're trying to do is, with being connected, like going solar, being connected to the grid, putting your energy onto the grid. ComEd is like giving you credits for how much energy you're putting onto the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Those credits, you're trying to build those up over the spring, the summer, and the fall to then move you into the winter time.
And it kind of averages out over time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We're offsetting your entire year
Mm-hmm.
worth of usage.
Yeah, and so one of the questions that I had, with solar, generally, I mean, at least I think of like a Tesla Powerwall or something like that, where you're actually storing this for use if the power goes out. And that's not the type of system that you're specifically talking about.
No, yeah.
Can you explain? Because, okay, so I guess tell me if I'm wrong, because just like people in Rolling Meadows, we actually just had like you get the letters where they're trying to get you to switch your provider.
Yep, your supplier.
Your supplier, exactly. And some of those deals are terrible.
Yeah.
Where it'll jump up, like all of a sudden your bill's like astronomical, and you're wondering why you're alive. But how does it work with solar? Is it a similar type of situation like that, or is it something that makes more sense? I mean, can you just kind of lay that out? How that works?
So really, there's two major incentives for going solar. One is the federal tax credit. This year, it's 26% of the total cost of your system you get back as a federal tax credit. Now, you have to have paid over the course of the year that much in taxes to get that full credit back.
Okay.
The second incentive is the state level incentive. So that's ComEd in the state of Illinois. They're paying you for 15 years of clean energy that your home is going to produce being put onto the grid.
Okay.
So it's a grid, they call it a grid tied system.
Right.
So you're pumping energy onto the grid. If you're not going to pump that energy onto the grid, like you put it into a Tesla Powerwall or a battery bank, whatever, then you're not going to get that extra incentive from the state.
Gotcha.
And that comes out, it's a huge amount. It's about 20 to 30% of the total cost.
So that actually makes more sense because, like I said, when I originally thought of this, I was thinking like, battery backups. Like for years, the problem with solar supposedly is that, the sun has unlimited amounts of energy, but it's a storage problem. And, batteries just haven't been, advanced enough to handle that load for an extended period of time. So, you're kind of making a case for you don't need that because it actually costs you more money to have that, more money in maintenance. That's
So really, when you look at a market that's more developed like California, they're about 20 years ahead of us in the solar game.
right.
They actually have incentives now for battery backup systems because of how just the infrastructure, how
Right.
much energy is on the grid, how much is being used, there's just overloaded. So really they're trying to take some of that pressure off of the grid
Right.
by offering incentives on battery backup systems. We're not there yet in Illinois.
Yeah.
I can see us being there in like 10 to 15 years. And that's probably when we'll have an incentive for battery systems. So a battery will probably cost you about $10,000.
Yeah, I was going to say about that.
And instead, you can be connected to the grid using them as your battery storage, where you're putting your energy. And then it only costs about $16 a month, and that's the standard metering charge and the customer charge.
Now, a question that I have for the system that you have or are offering: if your power does go out, your power's out.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct. So yeah, being tied to the grid, when they shut the grid down, then you don't have power. But in the same respect, if you are producing a ton of energy during the day, they don't want you pumping energy onto the grid
Yeah,
when they
shut off.
have a problem with it.
Right.
So it does work back and forth like that.
Gotcha. And so, from the time where, you sit down with somebody, you go over all the details, everybody, agrees and shakes hands. How long does it take to get up and running?
So with the amount of people that have gone solar this year, the process is quite a while. But personally, like our company has cut their timelines pretty much in half, moving into this year. So you go solar, you do all your paperwork and everything, shake hands, high five, you're going solar.
Yeah.
The next step is a site survey, come and do an evaluation of the home. That normally takes like the next day or the day after, and then all of that information gets thrown to engineers to put together your CAD design and your permit package, essentially. So they do all their load calculations, make sure your roof can sustain the system, and then all that gets pushed to permitting. Permitting is the longest part of the process.
Right.
So
I
that
would imagine so.
that could take anywhere from, I've seen it come back in 2 hours with some villages.
Wow.
All the way up to 2 months,
Yeah.
with like even just with revisions back and forth. The installation itself, after you get your permits, it's only takes about 1 to 2 days. And then
That's
after that, there's about 2 to 3 weeks before you're actually turned on.
Okay.
So there's like a final inspection that needs to happen, and then, you
From
submit
ComEd, probably.
the village. And then
Okay.
after you pass that, that gets submitted to ComEd, and then they just approve it, let you know, like, okay, you can turn your system on.
Wow.
So when you're looking at the whole picture, it's about 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
2 to 3 months before you are producing power.
And is there is that on the customer's dime? Do they start paying for that? When does it happen where you're switching who you're paying?
No, that's a good question. So before you are switched on, you're not paying anything towards your solar. You
Gotcha.
are still paying ComEd, your regular bill, and then your first solar payment actually isn't due until about 60 days after your switch is on.
Okay.
So from the moment you go solar, you got 3 months until you're installed and turned on, and then another 2 months before you actually start paying towards your system.
Gotcha. And then, you mentioned that there's an app and there's a lot of, kind of like analytics, tracking.
Tools, monitoring systems.
Right. Better
So
word.
it all depends on what kind of inverter that you have. So with equipment, there's solar panels, there's inverters, and then the racking used to attach to the house.
Sure.
The different inverters all have their own different monitoring systems. All of them come with an app on your phone. You can track how much each panel is producing itself, how much the whole system is producing. You can look at graphs and different numbers to see how you produce over time.
Yeah.
What you've actually consumed as well. So you can track with how much you're producing, how much you're consuming,
Yeah.
what your net energy is. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's like with anything when you're looking, you're like, oh, I've saved this amount of money or I made this amount of power. It's novelty,
Yeah.
definitely.
I know Mike likes to show his app.
Yeah. Well, when we were talking on the phone, I mean, people that do this are true believers, and so like in your industry, I bring this up all the time that I did sales and still do to a point. That's the best type of customer ever. The person that is a true believer,
Yep.
because they're going to tell 3 other people too. And so how's that been? How has the, I guess the feedback been? I mean, it's a new emerging market in the area. So you guys got to be.
And there's different ways to market. I mean, we are primarily a door knocking company.
Yeah,
So we
right.
go door to door in different neighborhoods. The response has been a little bit hesitant. People
Yeah.
they want to see it. They want to see it happen first.
They don't want to be the first
They
one.
don't want to be the first one.
Right.
But I mean, it's really not. It's not hard finding customers. I mean, there are people out there that really, they're interested and believe in it, and that's just how the market is right now. As it develops and progresses, more people are gonna be interested and want to learn more. Like we're expecting to have a pretty busy year, just with. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's technology that people already know about roundabout. They've heard about it. It's not like what's that?
Yeah.
That doesn't work. So it's like I think that the hesitation probably comes from the fact that they don't want somebody knocking on the door giving them a pitch.
Yeah.
But if you have Mike, for instance, showing you the app and telling you that he just saved X amount of dollars, you don't need to be pitched. Now people are asking to meet you. And so I would figure that that's probably where you are going to have the most success.
Yeah, I mean those are the easiest. Easiest sales.
Referrals.
Referrals.
Yeah.
You already built up that trust, and if somebody trusts you, they're just going to pass that on. I mean,
right.
Of course, that's going to be a lot easier, and it's actually pretty fun.
Absolutely. Well, sure. I mean, you're doing something that it's emerging, it's new. The technology's only going to get better. So getting in there in the beginning, kind of learning about it, educating other people about it, it's good. I mean, there's a lot to say about green energy and things like that. So if we can move in that direction, it'll make a lot of people happy. Whether it's going to save the world or not, I don't know. But it's going to make a lot of people happy. And if it saves you some money, we're doing something good, right?
There's definitely going to be an impact. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. And, I definitely think that it's a good topic. It's a helpful topic for people because there's a lot of curiosity. I mean, like I said, I just had a conversation with a lady like 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. So it's another question I had, though. Tell me a little bit about the support from the company, because in my mind, I think if I'm just like if we go back to the example of buying a car, if I'm buying a car and I'm taking out a loan and I'm paying it off over time, I expect the dealership to give me a certain level of support, whether it's oil changes or tire rotations or whatever maintenance. How does that work with solar?
So with Phoenix, we are actually started as a roofing company in 2007.
Yeah.
And we have branches in San Antonio and Austin, Texas, as well as Memphis, Tennessee. And our owner, it was always his dream to do solar.
Yeah.
So starting the solar division, being roofers by trade, we call ourselves the one-stop shop for everything up top.
I like it. Yeah.
When it comes to maintenance, these systems, there's really little to no maintenance, especially with the climate around in Chicago. We get enough precipitation. It's not like the Southwest where there's like lots of wind and dust.
Yeah, that's true.
Maintenance is really, we pride ourselves on our customer service. You're not going to get a system from us and see it not producing, and then we're not going to be there. We're not going to answer the phone. I have access to see all of our systems and how they're producing. And really, I spend maybe about 6 hours a week just making sure that systems are good, running diagnostics, just making sure that everybody is still producing like they're supposed to be. As our company grows, that'll probably be passed on. That responsibility be passed on to the next person.
Sure.
But even when it comes to like getting a new roof,
Yeah.
we'll take the panels off and put them back on.
That's a
to
big question.
little to no charge.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't even think of that. You brought it up. If I'm a homeowner, I have a solar panel array on my roof, and I want to get a roof replacement. Maybe I have a cheap roof from 15 years ago that needs to be
Sure.
taken care of. How does that work? Do I have to call you?
You don't necessarily have to call us. There are other companies and installers that will take the panels off and put them back on, but there is a charge that comes with that. So
How does that work?
with our company, we would preferably be the ones to take
Yeah,
them
I
off
would
and put them
imagine.
back on. And being one of our customers, we'll do that at no charge.
So there's a benefit. Yeah.
There is a benefit, and hopefully, we would be the ones doing the roof.
Yeah, right.
That's an added benefit as well. But say there's a hailstorm, so that's another thing. What if there is a hailstorm?
That happens, yeah.
How does that work? In Illinois, we don't get like softball size hail like they do in Texas.
Yeah.
We get like maybe baseball or golf ball sized hail. It could damage the panels. They're made to withstand bigger hail, about 4 inches in diameter. But that's covered under your homeowner's insurance. So
Okay.
that's like a whole other thing, like your homeowner's insurance. How does that change?
Yeah.
Your premiums, I've seen some people's premiums go up. I've seen some people's premiums not go up. Really depends on how much coverage you already have and what
Okay.
insurance company you have.
Yeah. I would imagine that if you have the panels, you would be smart enough to get insurance.
Yeah, you do have to let them know.
Yeah.
You do have to call them and tell them, yeah, I'm going solar. We have panels on our roof now, just so they're aware of what they're covering. What else? There's a few different things that go with that. So if a hailstorm does happen, then your insurance company is gonna, they have to pay for your roof. If they approve it, they'll pay for the roof. And then the detach and reset cost comes incorporated into your insurance claim.
Right. Well, it's really interesting. You're almost like asking your own questions because you know this more. You know more about this. So tell me a little bit. Let's take a step back away from the solar for a second. Tell me a little bit about why you do this.
Okay. Well, really, what got me? Let's see. I'll start from the beginning.
Sure.
So
It's a good place.
In high school, I went to Loyola Academy in Wilmette. My mom sent me on a couple of mission trips with Habitat for Humanity. That really got me interested in homes and just construction, building homes. Going to college, I went to UIC downtown Chicago. They didn't have anything that was like construction management, nothing like that. So I took civil engineering. Got my civil engineering degree, and while I was at school, I worked for a restoration company based out of Arlington Heights as a technician. Learning different trades, how to use my hands and different tools. Did that for about 8 years, so I continued after college. That was fire, water, and smoke damage. And it was really about just like helping. I always saw it as I was helping people after like disastrous situations.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what I did with Habitat for Humanity. But moving away from that, just times changed, a different company, I've been bartending and everything on the side as well.
Sure.
But really, I kind of stuck with the restoration and worked for a roofing company. So insurance claim work.
Gotcha.
Doing sales. But really to me, it was still like, restoring homes. That was just a different avenue of doing it, but I was still kind of doing the same thing. That company was a different one to work for.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's somewhat hesitant about like insurance, roofing stuff, and
yeah.
that's like the whole different thing.
Yeah, that's an industry that has some people that maybe are not as savory as others.
Sure. People have had like great experiences, and
Yeah.
people have had like absolutely horrible experiences.
Yeah, well, they say like with roofing companies in particular, like they're chasing the hail. People are, basically disaster. What do they call them? Ambulance chasers.
Storm chasers.
Storm chasers.
Yeah,
Sure.
people do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The company I worked for used to do that. They would be storm chasers, obviously, because that's where
It's where the money's
Yeah.
at. Right.
that's where the money in the business is.
It's not necessarily, it doesn't mean that since you're smart about getting customers, that you're doing something bad, but there are a lot of people that do shady stuff.
Shady stuff, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, like overcharging an insurance company,
Yeah,
and then
right.
that really ends up hurting the homeowner. what brought me to Phoenix though was, I mean, yeah, I was looking for a new job, and the recruiter called me. It was like, "How about solar?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that was never really thought about that. I didn't even know anything really about it." I was interviewing with like a dozen other roofing companies,
Yeah.
but the only solar company. So
And is
I was
that-
actually, go ahead.
What I was going to say is Phoenix pretty much the only provider around here? How many competitors do you
So
have?
there are quite a few companies that are coming
Starting to come in?
Yeah, starting to come to Illinois just because of this is the hottest market for solar right now.
Wow.
But there are a few companies that have been around for a while.
Yeah.
Phoenix, our solar division, so it's only been open for about a year and a half. But we don't plan on going anywhere.
Yeah.
This is it's really it's gonna be huge.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's exciting. And so like it's always interesting to me to when I'm talking to somebody that is in sales to kind of get their perspective on their product. Because for any salesperson it's really important that you believe in what you're selling. So when you first heard about this opportunity to get into this business, what were your hesitations? What did it take for you to be a believer?
Well, when I was interviewing, I missed my first interview.
Oh man.
No, I hit like horrible traffic on 290. It was like 45 minutes of just sitting there. But what really got me was the culture of the company that I worked for. So it's like, even with the way that they do their roofing business,
Yeah.
like they just kind of hooked me with just the type of people that they were. I really believed in our owner and our manager at the time, and that's really what hooked me in. It gives me goosebumps to talk about.
Sure, that's good.
And then just solar being so different from anything that I've ever done, it was really, really interesting, and I didn't know anything about it, so I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
I've actually moved, started in a sales role, and with our company growing, there's really two of us from the original group that got hired. There's me and the other guy, and he's stepping into like our sales team lead or sales manager, and I'm actually taking over like pretty much all of production and operations.
Wow.
So
Congrats.
I still thank you. I
Yeah.
still sell a little bit, but most of my time is spent, making sure our projects get installed and on time.
Well, that's I mean, you guys just started the division like within the past 2 years, so it sounds like you're moving on up. Right?
We are, yeah. We're actually like, there's only one of like maybe 3 companies in Illinois that are roofers that do solar now.
And that's a huge benefit, obviously. You're not having to like subcontract out to people. You have that infrastructure already in place to get it done.
And we know what to do with your roof. Really, I mean, like if we know how to manipulate the roofing materials so that you don't get a leak in like 3 months or the first heavy rain.
Right.
How to flash everything accordingly, appropriately.
Yeah, I can imagine you get some shady person from California that's used to dealing with like terracotta roofs or something, to come into Chicago hammering stuff in with, and then
There's a couple of Facebook groups that I'm on where you get to see some pretty sketchy stuff, pretty sketchy installs.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it kind of is peace of mind, though. I mean, it makes sense to me that you would want to deal with somebody that kind of is like all under one roof, Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I mean, I love that. And so, tell me a little bit about some of the customers that you had, without like specifics. Like, do you have any like success stories? People that are like, besides Mike, or you can tell us about Mike too. I mean, tell us about how that process went and how he's like happy about it.
So Mike was, he's great people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's funny. He was like one of my first customers, and he was like, really, it was like, well, do you believe in this company? Are you staying with them?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, absolutely. It's like, all right, well, let's take my
do it.
bill. Let's see what we can do and what it looks like for my house. It's like, really, it was. He's paying a little bit more money.
Yeah.
But he's taking his incentives and keeping them for himself. It's a little different than what most of our customers are doing. They put those back towards their systems. but that's his money
Yeah.
to do with what he wants. That's his choice, and really he's brought more customers my way, which is great.
Sure.
And I love him and his wife TJ and their little girl. I still do work. I do work around here at Reps. Do work around his house too. So we really developed a good relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I have customers from all different areas. I mean, I got customers in Lamont. I got customers in Skokie, I got Cary.
Yeah.
We primarily do our door-to-door marketing in like Streamwood, Schaumburg, Elk Grove Village. But I have referrals coming from all around Chicago. And
So what areas you cover? I guess what's the radius?
well, we all over Chicagoland. Really, we can install anywhere in Illinois.
Okay.
But mostly it's the northwest suburbs. I mean, we're Schaumburg. We're right across the street from Costco over on Remington Road.
Okay.
Kind of by the new Topgolf that's popping up.
Oh wow.
We're going to be moving into a bigger facility with warehouse space, probably towards end of April. But really, we're servicing Schaumburg, Elk Grove Village, Streamwood. That's where we're like our teams are
Gotcha.
out marketing.
Yeah. Hey, I had a question. So I mean, a lot of our audience, we have a lot of real estate people, like real estate agents, brokers, people like that. People that own properties, commercial properties too. For somebody that owns a apartment building in the city, do you guys do any service like that? Is that something that you've thought about?
So
How does that work?
It's a lot. It's different. So
Yeah.
So commercial space, it's really, you have to have the upfront cash or capital to make the investment. There's a lot more red tape that comes with that. I mean, when you're building a larger system, obviously, residential systems are around 10 kilowatts. I don't know if that means anything to you. Larger systems are 15 to 25 kilowatts. There's just more there's more planning on I guess the back end that needs to happen.
So do you guys handle that, or is that not something you want to touch?
We don't do a whole lot of commercial. We definitely can.
You can though.
We can, absolutely. We're putting a couple bids out for these facilities in northern suburbs that are huge systems. But really, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, well, with anything, you got the residential side and the commercial side. But for the most part, when I talk to construction companies and roofing companies and things like that, they want to deal with commercial more. I mean, it's better business. It's much more, profitable business. So, I mean, that's just the marketer and me thinking hey, how do we make this better?
It is a much more profitable avenue.
Yeah.
But it's more difficult.
Yeah. Sure. That's why it's more expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you get what you pay for. But yeah, no, I mean that's it's something to think about. And now let's look at it from the perspective if I'm a real estate agent, or maybe I'm trying to flip a property. Is this something that makes sense? Would that be something that would hinder the sales process, or would it be something that's a selling point?
So, studies done in California show that homes with solar sell faster. That's a different market than what it is here in Illinois. We're not that developed yet, but people are going to be looking for homes that are green homes, that produce their own power. And when you're looking at two of the same home, and one has no energy bill, and the other one has an energy bill, how much are you willing to pay more to not have an energy bill?
Yeah.
You're able to list the house at a higher price because it produces its own energy. There's, I think they sell about 4% faster, something like that.
That's a big difference, though.
And that's just right now. So I mean, it's in the when we get to becoming a more developed market like California, it's actually state law out over there now. Any new construction has to have solar on it.
Wow.
And we're not there yet, but
yeah. Well, over there is a lot different. I mean, a lot different.
Yeah.
Politics too, you know.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many things about this. It's like the Wild West a little bit. You know, I mean, it's got its differences from, you know, the other regions that it's already been established in. What are you guys doing differently? What is this market going to look like in the next 10 years? And what are you guys doing to corner that, I guess?
Really trying to develop our brand of being that roofer that does solar, because there's really nobody else out there that's doing it
Right.
like that, which is kind of crazy to think about. Just like, you know, roofers not even thinking about doing solar.
Yeah.
When
Why do you think that is?
I, I'm not really sure. You
Yeah.
know, it's that's something that my boss probably has a lot more insight in, just having
Right.
his company for, you know, since 2007 and being a well-established roofer.
But back to the other question.
Yeah.
So you know, what are you guys doing differently? I mean, I know that you are, you know, obviously trying to build the brand and the awareness, but you know, do you have any ideas? I know that right before we started, you were talking about maybe having like a group meeting or something like that.
So we're trying to implant ourselves in different things like Chamber of Commerce. I know we're part of the Yorkville Chamber of Commerce. We have different like, I wouldn't call them lead groups, but just groups that
Networking groups.
networking groups, absolutely,
Right.
that we've placed ourselves in to just, you know, get the exposure out there. We've done different events like we've done Schaumburg Fest,
Okay.
Veggie Fest. We've done tables at farmers markets, really just wanting to educate people. You know, obviously get more business too, but
Yeah, of course.
But really, right now, it's just an educational.
Yeah. Well, that's the first
right
step, you know. I mean, so like, who's your target customer? Who's buying this stuff? Who's doing it at the moment?
Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say. There's a lot of different people. You do have those eco warriors that, you know, like they're going solar no matter what, whether they
Yeah.
get 10% offset or the full 100% offset. But
Right.
then there's people that, you know, like just want to save money. You know,
Of course, yeah.
so just understanding how the cost of going solar works, and like being in the perfect situation, but a win-win situation
Yeah.
where it actually is a good,
Makes sense.
where it makes sense. You know, that's really what we're trying to do is you know, just get it out there. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it logically makes sense to do when you look at the numbers and everything, but just buying into it, you know,
Yeah, there has to be a level of comfort before you even have the conversation, you know. So that actually ties into one of the things that I wanted to get into. So like, obviously, when you're knocking doors and you're doing these things, you're going to have people that want to slam it in your face or tell you, you know, this and that. What are the biggest objections that you deal with, and what are your responses to those?
Some of the biggest objections would be, does it work here? You know, like, does it work in Illinois? We don't get enough sun.
Right.
That's when we pull out our map and go through. You know, we get double the amount of exposure than the leader in the world. Another objection is the look of it. You know, people don't like how it looks. I mean, that's really of your personal preference. Some people don't want, or they only want it on the back of their house. But you know, in some situations, that's not the perfect. Like, that's not a good fit.
And that's because of the direction of the sun and
Yeah.
the path of the light, right?
Yeah, so I mean, being on the northern hemisphere, you know, the sun hits us from the south. So the southern slope is always going to be the best slope to have your panels on. I mean, east and west, you're still good there. Northern slope, I mean, really, you'd never want to put solar panels on the northern slope. If you do, it's really just not. It's not going to be cost effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, south, east, west. That's the most part. Yeah. What were you?
Hey, so okay, I had an idea, and you know, like I said, this is just a conversation. So imagine this: so you want the solar panels on your roof, but you have like a 100-year oak tree in front of your house or something. How does that work? What do you do? How do you get around that one?
So you can do if you have the space, like the land, you could do a ground mount and just
Okay.
put it in your backyard if you have enough space. If you have a giant oak tree, you're probably not going to get enough sun exposure on your roof to offset your energy needs. So it's probably not going to be a good fit. Now, I'm not one to say cut down the tree, but there's if you do that could be incorporated really into your switch to solar cost.
Yeah.
Which you can get money back from the government for.
Oh, wow.
For actually making that happen. So
Yeah,
if you,
right.
whatever cost that is associated with you going solar. So even if you get a new roof before going solar, whatever slope has solar on it, like say 50% of your roof has solar on it, you can bundle that into your switch to solar costs because that's what it took for you to go solar.
Well, you know what? I just tossed I tossed it right to you. I mean, that's something that's a huge thing. I mean, people, you're sitting there and you're having to rake your leaves all the time, and it's a pain, and you have to worry about the branches falling on your roof or whatever. That's something. If you're gonna go solar to save money, why not absorb that cost of taking those trees out too, right? That's more of a selling point than anything, right?
Yeah, and sometimes there's like certain percentage of that can be bundled into your financing. So like
wow.
you're going to be paying your monthly payments, and that part of that was taking that tree down.
That's
On
awesome.
the other side of it, when you switch to solar, like there are different statistics that come with it. Like so, how much CO2 you're actually going to offset, with your system. How many trees will be planted to offsetting that same amount of CO2?
Yeah.
Essentially, like what your impact is going to be.
And you give
from your
people
system.
kind of like a report on that?
Yeah, that's all built into the report as well.
Very nice.
It also has comparisons of like doing nothing, your cost of doing nothing, staying with the utility company, and then also your cost of going to solar. So
Wow. So say for instance, I'm thinking about getting a new roof put on the house, and maybe I'm shopping around. Would it be more beneficial to just do it all at once? Does the cost of the roof go into that as well if there's leaks in it or something?
So with us, with Phoenix, if you get a new roof, there's different roofs that you can get. So there's like the standard roof, which has like a 2-year workmanship warranty. Then you can upgrade to a 15-year leak-proof warranty, which is actually backed by our manufacturer because they know the type of work that we do.
What do you guys like, GAF or something, or what do you guys use?
We Certainteed as well as Malarkey. So Malarkey roofing products. Actually, let me get into that. So Malarkey uses recycled tires mixed into their asphalt. So it's like it's anti-smog. It's really like a recycled roofing product. You can literally bend it and then it'll lay flat.
Oh wow.
It's like hail resistant. It's and that company Malarkey, I think they're based out of the Northwest. We've developed a relationship with them that they know the type of work that we do. So if, God forbid, we go out of business, they'll back our work for up to 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And like there's nobody else does that. So back to going getting a new roof and then going solar. If you do that like combo deal essentially, then we give you a better price on the roof. Than what you would have to pay for retail. Then you do get a better price on your solar as well. It's like that combo deal makes it a better situation, and you save more. The homeowner would save more money.
Yeah, well, it makes sense to me. That's the cost to have a house. If you're gonna it's a long-term investment, and dealing with somebody that's from the area that has a history in doing roofing first, it makes sense. That you'd want to deal with somebody like bundle it together and all that because it's trustworthy. So that's interesting though. The products that you're using also is kind of kind of a greener solution too, using recycled products.
Yeah.
So yeah, all around, it sounds like you're the owner of the company has kind of some
He's
yeah.
trying to make his impact on the world, and he's doing a great job.
That's great. That's great. And so like, what other services do you guys offer? I mean, besides the solar and the roofing.
Well, I mean, we do roofing, siding, gutters,
Okay.
solar. What else? I mean, that's pretty
Siding,
much.
gutters was
Yeah, siding and gutters. I mean, all the exterior work, like we do like fascia, soffit work as well.
Okay.
All exteriors, really. I mean,
Nice. Awesome. And so how do people get a hold of Phoenix Solar?
well, our website is gosolarchicago.com. There's a form you can fill out on there. You can email me too, nhembree@gosolarchicago.com.
How do you spell that?
HEMBREE. So N is in Nathan, and then Hembree@gosolarchicago.com.
Yep, and we'll put the website in the description below, obviously, so you guys can check that out. And so what's on the horizon? Are you guys going to be having any like events or anything coming up? Promotional stuff? What do you got going on?
Well, we do have like winter specials that are happening right now.
Yeah.
You get a report. We'll go over all that with you, see if it's a good fit. Moving into the spring, we're actually trying to grow our teams, like four to five fold. Hopefully by
So you guys
April.
are hiring?
Yeah, we are hiring for our sales side. A couple of production sides positions as well, but those will develop as more business comes in.
Gotcha.
And then I know that moving into like festival season, we'll have our spots in different farmers markets as well as Schaumburg Fest. I know there's a kids expo coming to Schaumburg soon.
There's always something going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so about the employment, for people listening, if they're in the area, and I guess what qualifications do you need to kind of apply for those? What positions are you kind of looking to fill?
So we're looking to fill sales positions.
Okay.
Really, it's drive and being coachable. I mean, and it's work ethic. It's a different kind of. It's outside sales.
Yeah.
You're out there knocking on doors. You got to be able to take a certain level of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to take a whole bunch of no's, just knowing that yes is going to come.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. But yeah, I mean, if you are interested in looking for a position or just
You want to try it out,
interested
learn
in-
more?
Learn more, yeah, definitely hit us up. You can you can call me as well.
And that's is that 847?
847-877-0413. That's my direct phone number. And then if it is about a job, I can definitely put you in touch with our recruiter and our hiring manager, and try to set that up.
Perfect. Awesome. And so, aside from the details, I wanted to kind of touch on the knocking doors part of this a little bit. We don't want to go too deep into it, but so for anybody that's ever done sales, that the rejection can be hard. It's not for everybody. It's something that takes that drive and that ability to realize it's a numbers game, and every no gets you closer to a yes, and you got to keep doing it, keep going until you get the results. It takes a certain person to be able to do that. How did you decide that was something you were going to do?
When I was doing roofing at a different company, that was door knocking as well. It was completely different,
It's crazy.
pitch and door approach. That I wasn't really a fan of. It was, but then coming into solar, I really was like, oh, I can definitely. It's a much easier pitch and door approach. It's not. It's and I mean, I believe in it. That makes it so much easier as well. I mean, I can do the pitch for you. I really have the same pitch for every door. It's kind of funny too. I'm like, I like to say, like, are you the king of the castle here?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, I'm not the king. Oh, there must be a queen then.
Yeah, well,
You know?
that's probably the person that would make the most decisions. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, like everybody's got their corny stuff they say. You know, it's so funny because people think that the corny stuff is like way too corny, but
Yeah.
you have to use the corny stuff because you got to get a laugh.
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
have
mean-
to a little bit, and it's like almost in my experience, it's kind of like for anybody that is getting the knock on the door and hearing the corny thing, it's kind of like, you can't take yourself too serious. Because if you go up there and you're trying to like make a true believer out of solar, for into solar customers, like you can't just go over there and because you're going to get things slammed in your face a few times.
All the time.
And then you're going to start doubting your product and you're going to start thinking, no, there's no way I can do it. How did you overcome that?
So we have like energy hacks.
Mm-hmm.
So like you always want to be at a certain level of energy in order to influence like the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
I personally listen to AC/DC while I'm knocking.
Nice.
Something that really keeps me up. I always move with a purpose. I'm go.
Yeah.
When I'm out there marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And really like, yeah, I can pretty much talk to anybody about
Right.
pretty much anything, and it's really fit for me with that.
Why do you think that is?
I think being a bartender for so long. I mean, I still bartend at Bears games for
Nice.
During the season. Just easy to talk to, easy for me to talk to
Sociable
people.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, nothing really bogs me down that much. I can take a no.
Sure, yeah, you got to.
I could take 10 no's.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, in that industry, I would imagine that the yes is well worth the no's.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you don't need too many of them, too. So that's, it's a good business. I mean, I know people, we've interviewed people before that are in the game in California knocking doors. I don't have the name on the top of my head right now, but he's a big solar guy. And it's really it's an interesting thing to see this branching out into Chicago land, and I know that there's a lot of people that are totally interested in it. I mean, it makes sense to me. I think that like you said, people just don't want to be the first one to do it. So I guess this is your opportunity to talk to the person that's watching this right now that lives in the area. What is your case for contacting you?
Well, really, it just starts with a free report. Everybody, you use energy differently than your neighbors do, and you might see that in your bill. They like to do comparisons and stuff like that. But really, just getting educated is the first step, and with that comes your report to see exactly what it would look like for you guys. I would definitely say just do it, get it run, see what it looks like, see if it's a good fit. If you can offset 10%, 20%, 30%, or even all of your energy bill, it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be good for the world. It's going to be good for Chicago. It's going to be good for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. And it doesn't cost you anything to get information,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah, go on our website. Like I said, gosolarchicago.com. You can fill out a form there. That'll get sent to us. Please mention in the notes section that you saw it on the podcast. That'd be great. And then we'll definitely run a report, get you guys taken care of.
You heard it from him. Better than how I could have said it. I definitely appreciate you, Nate. I mean, I love what you're doing. I want to see more of it. Every time I see a solar panel on these roofs over there, I'm going to think of you. So, that's awesome. It's a real pleasure to have you on. And for everybody listening, check out in the comments. Check out the website. Give him a call. Like I said, it doesn't cost anything to get the information. If you like, great. If not, no hard feelings, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.